The holographic transmission flickered to life in the United Earth Defense Command Center, deep beneath Geneva's reinforced bedrock. Commander Anna Volkov stood rigid, her steel-gray eyes fixed on the shimmering image of the Galaxy Council's High Arbiter, a towering crystalline being whose very presence seemed to distort the air around it. Humanity, the Arbiter's voice resonated through multiple dimensions, each syllable carrying the weight of 10,000 civilizations. You have been found in violation of Galactic Statute 7 Alpha Prime. Your expansion into contested space sectors, your refusal to submit to genetic modification protocols, and your continued development of prohibited weapons technology constitute acts of aggression against the established order. The Council has voted. War is declared. The transmission cut out. Silence blanketed the command center for precisely 3 seconds. Then Louis Chen, Chief Tactical Officer and Anna's longtime partner in humanity's defense, began to laugh. It started as a chuckle, low and dark, then built into something that made the junior officers shift uncomfortably in their stations. "Louis," Anna said quietly, though her lips curved into the faintest smile. "Sorry, Commander." Louis wiped his eyes, his Chinese-American features creasing with genuine amusement. "It's just, they actually think this is going to work. After everything they've seen us survive, they think this is going to break us." Anna turned to face the assembled officers, each representing Earth's unified military command. "Tactical assessment, Mr. Chen." Louis straightened, his humor evaporating into cold professionalism. He pulled up a holographic star chart, the Galaxy Council's territories glowing in pale blue, humanity's comparatively tiny sphere marked in defiant red. "They outnumber us approximately 40,000 to 1, Louis began, his fingers dancing through the holographic interface. "The Council represents 847 species across 200,000 inhabited systems. They have access to technologies we've only theorized about, quantum displacement drives, stellar converters, even rumored temporal weapons." "And our advantages," Anna prompted. Louis's expression hardened into something resembling pride mixed with savage determination. "We're human. We're the species that crawled out of caves and split the atom. We're the civilization that turned Mars into a garden and Europa into an ocean world in less than 2 centuries. We're the people who, when faced with extinction-level asteroids, didn't pray to gods. We built railguns the size of continents and blew those rocks into dust." He expanded the hologram, showing Earth's defensive networks. "More importantly, Commander, we've spent the last 50 years preparing for exactly this scenario. Ever since first contact, we knew the Council viewed us as problematic." Anna nodded. The Council had made their position clear from the beginning. Humanity was too aggressive, too individualistic, too stubborn to fit into their carefully ordered galactic society. They had demanded humanity accept genetic modifications to calm our violent tendencies, submit to population controls, and abandon entire branches of scientific research deemed destabilizing. Humanity's response had been diplomatic but firm. "No." "Initiate Protocol Prometheus," Anna commanded. Across human space, from the shipyards orbiting Saturn to the military stations hidden in the Kuiper Belt, humanity's true military might began to awaken. The Council had made a critical error. They had mistaken humanity's diplomatic corps for its warriors. Louis pulled up tactical displays showing the approaching Council fleet. First wave consists of approximately 50,000 vessels. They're using standard Council tactics, overwhelming numerical superiority, quantum shielding, and conversion weapons designed to disassemble matter at the molecular level. "Time to contact." 72 hours, they're being dramatic about it, giving us time to reconsider and submit. Anna's laugh was sharp. "How considerate. Battle stations, Mr. Chen, and activate the Erebus network." Louis hesitated for just a moment. The Erebus network was humanity's darkest secret, a weapons system so terrible that even mentioning it in the presence of Council spies had been forbidden. Commander, once we activate Erebus, there's no going back. The Council will know we've been violating every treaty they imposed. Lewis, they just declared war on us. I think the time for pretense is over. He nodded and entered the authorization codes. Throughout the Sol system, hidden within hollowed-out asteroids and camouflaged among the rings of Saturn, thousands of weapons platforms came online. But these weren't conventional weapons. They were something the Council had never encountered, something uniquely human in its terrible simplicity. Humanity had weaponized physics itself. The Council fleet arrived right on schedule, dropping out of quantum space in a formation that had intimidated countless civilizations into submission. 50,000 warships, each the size of a small moon, their crystalline hulls shimmering with exotic energies. Their commander, a being of pure thought housed in a mechanical body, broadcast the standard demand for surrender. Anna stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, humanity's flagship and the largest vessel ever constructed by human hands. Around her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, their faces showing not fear but grim determination. Mr. Chen, show them what happens when you threaten Earth. Lewis activated the Erebus network with a single command. The Council fleet's sensors screamed warnings too late. Throughout their formation, space itself began to tear. Not the controlled rips of quantum drives or wormholes. These were wounds in reality itself, micro-singularities that humanity had learned to weaponize after decades of research the Council had explicitly forbidden. Each Erebus platform generated a localized gravitational anomaly calibrated to a specific frequency. When activated in concert, they created cascading gravitational waves that tore through shields and hulls designed to withstand conventional weapons. The Council ships, built for elegance and efficiency within established physical parameters, crumpled like paper in a hurricane. In 17 minutes, 50,000 Council ships became expanding clouds of debris. The second wave arrived 6 hours later, 200,000 vessels, including several of the Council's ancient dreadnoughts, ships that had ended civilizations. Their attack was more cautious, more tactical, utilizing temporal displacement to avoid humanity's gravity weapons. Anna watched them maneuver, her expression thoughtful. They're learning. That's unfortunate for them. Why's that, Commander? A young ensign asked. Lewis answered before Anna could. Because humans don't just adapt, we evolve our tactics in real time. What they're seeing now isn't our final form, it's just the opening move. He activated humanity's second surprise, the Ghost Fleet. For 50 years, humanity had been building ships in secret, hidden in the dark spaces between stars. But these weren't normal vessels. Inspired by Earth's history of guerrilla warfare, psychological operations, and asymmetric combat, the Ghost Fleet consisted of millions of smaller craft, each crewed by specially trained volunteers who had embraced a simple philosophy. If we're going to die, we're taking as many of them with us as possible. The Ghost Fleet didn't engage in traditional combat. They used hit-and-run tactics, kamikaze strikes, information warfare, and psychological terror. They broadcast horrific images from Earth's history, footage of the world wars, nuclear detonations, the brutal efficiency of human conflict. They hijacked Council communication networks and filled them with humanity's greatest works of horror fiction, our most disturbing music, our most violent video games. The message was clear. You wanted to see what makes humans dangerous. Here it is. This is what we do to each other. Imagine what we'll do to you. The Council forces, comprising species that had known only peace for millennia, began to break. Their commanders reported psychological casualties, crew members refusing to fight, entire ships requesting to withdraw. The idea that a civilization would document and celebrate its own violence was beyond their comprehension. Anna monitored the reports, her face impassive. Third wave. Building at the galactic core, Lewis confirmed. Looks like they're committing their full reserve, over 1 million capital ships supported by their client species militaries. Estimated 5 million vessels total. And the Council itself. The Arbiters are gathering. They're planning to personally lead the assault. Lewis paused, studying the data. Commander, this is everything they have. If they commit this fully and lose, the Council's authority across the galaxy will collapse. Anna nodded slowly. This was the moment that would define humanity's future, and possibly the galaxy's. She could accept a negotiated peace, allow the Council to save face while establishing humanity as a power that couldn't be threatened. Or she could do what every instinct, every lesson from humanity's bloody history told her to do. She could finish it. Mr. Chen, what's the status of Project Omega? Lewis's hand stilled on his console. Around the bridge, officers who knew what Omega entailed went pale. Commander, Omega isn't fully tested. The simulations suggest a 40% chance of catastrophic quantum cascade. We could destroy half the galaxy. And if we don't use it, we fight a war of attrition against an enemy with functionally unlimited resources. How many humans die in that scenario? Billions over the course of decades, maybe centuries. Anna closed her eyes, feeling the weight of command like a physical thing. When she opened them, they were hard as diamond. Humanity didn't climb to the top of Earth's food chain by playing it safe. We did it by taking risks that would terrify any rational species. Prepare Omega. Lewis began the activation sequence, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were unleashing. For the record, Commander, I think you're absolutely insane. Noted, and your opinion? I think insane is exactly what the situation requires. Project Omega was humanity's ultimate weapon, born from a simple observation. Every civilization in the galaxy used quantum entanglement for faster-than-light communication. Every ship, every station, every inhabited world was connected through a vast quantum network. Humanity had spent decades mapping this network, finding its nodes and vulnerabilities. Omega would inject a specialized virus into the network, not a computer virus, but a quantum information virus that would rewrite the fundamental communication protocols of every connected system. In essence, humanity would take control of the galaxy's entire information infrastructure in a single moment. The third wave of the Council fleet arrived to find humanity waiting. The battle that followed was savage and brief. Council forces, confident in their overwhelming numbers, pushed forward, right into humanity's trap. Anna gave the order, execute Omega. Across the galaxy, in the span of a single quantum instant, every Council system connected to the network experienced the same message, delivered simultaneously in every known language, format, and sensory input. This is humanity. You declared war. You threatened our extinction. You believed yourselves superior. You were wrong. We now control every communication system, every data network, every quantum link in this galaxy. We could shut down your life support, disable your weapons, collapse your economies. We could end your civilizations without firing another shot, but we won't. Because unlike you, we understand mercy. Stand down, withdraw your forces, acknowledge Earth's sovereignty. Do this, and we will return control of your systems. Refuse, and learn what it truly means to face a species that has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war. The Council fleet stopped dead. Across 1 million ships, commanders frantically checked their systems and found humanity's message was truth. Every system was compromised, every network accessible to human control. Species that had never known vulnerability experienced it for the first time in millennia. The High Arbiter's transmission came through directly to Anna's command station. The crystalline being looked diminished somehow, its light less bright. Commander Volkov, it said slowly, we miscalculated. You did, Anna agreed, her voice cold. You saw our diplomacy as weakness. You mistook our restraint for inability. You forgot that every peaceful species had to become peaceful, and we're still in the middle of that transition. What are your terms? Anna glanced at Lewis, who nodded slightly. They had discussed this scenario, planned for it even though both had thought it unlikely. Complete withdrawal from Sol system and a 50 light-year buffer zone. Recognition of human sovereignty and independence from Council authority. Immediate cessation of genetic modification demands. And she paused, letting the weight of the next demand sink in. A seat on the Council itself, not as subjects but as equals. The Arbiter was silent for a long moment. The Council has existed for 3 million years. We have maintained peace across thousands of species. And you, a civilization barely 200 years into space travel, demand to join us as equals. No, Anna corrected. We're not demanding. We're informing you of the new reality. You can accept it, or you can watch as we dismantle the Council piece by piece using your own networks against you. Your choice. Lewis added quietly, and just so we're clear, we've already backed up all our quantum virus code into systems you don't know about. Destroying Earth won't remove it. Killing every human won't delete it. This genie doesn't go back in the bottle. The Arbiter's form flickered, perhaps in resignation, perhaps in grudging respect. We accept your terms, Commander. The Council will withdraw. But know this, you have made yourselves the most feared species in the galaxy. Anna smiled, and it was not a kind expression. Good. Fear breeds respect. Respect breeds caution. And caution might just prevent the next time someone decides humanity needs to be put in its place. The transmission ended. As the Council fleet began its withdrawal, initiating quantum jumps that would scatter them across the galaxy, Lewis let out a long breath. We actually did it. We beat the Galaxy Council. No, Anna corrected, watching the last of the enemy ships disappear. We showed them that beating us would cost more than they were willing to pay. That's different. Is it? Seems like the same result. It is for now. But Lewis, we've just painted a target on humanity that will last for generations. Every species that resented the Council's authority, every ambitious civilization looking to challenge the established order, they'll all be watching us now. Lewis nodded slowly, understanding. Then we'd better make sure we're ready, because the next fight won't be about survival. It'll be about proving we deserve the position we just claimed. Anna turned to look at Earth, visible through the viewport as a blue marble against the darkness of space. Somewhere down there, billions of people were going about their lives, most unaware of how close they had come to extinction. That was fine. Let them live in peace. That's what she and Lewis and every other human in uniform fought for. Send a message to all human forces, she commanded. The war is over. We won. But the real work starts now. We need to be better than the Council ever was. We need to prove that humanity's greatest strength isn't our capacity for violence. It's our capacity to choose when to use it and when to show mercy. And if they test us again, Lewis asked. Anna's smile was sharp as broken glass. Then we remind them why, in every human language ever spoken, the most terrifying words you can hear are, "We're only human." As the Indomitable began its journey back to Earth, carrying news of humanity's improbable victory, Anna allowed herself a moment of reflection. They had gambled everything on a strategy that should have failed against an enemy that outmatched them in every measurable way. But measurements didn't account for human stubbornness, for the refusal to accept defeat, for the ability to look at impossible odds and respond not with surrender but with defiance. The Galaxy Council had asked, "Is that all you've got?" Humanity had answered, "No, but it's all we needed." And across the galaxy, civilizations that had existed for millions of years learned a lesson that humanity had known since its first ancestors picked up sharpened sticks. Don't threaten the predator unless you're absolutely certain you can finish the fight. Because if you can't, you've just shown them where you live.